Have you ever thought about the effects on your body when you eat high-fat meals? Most of us probably don't. We just eat the things we like and really don't give much thought to how those foods really affect us. Well, ABC News did a segment to find out just what the effects really are on the body with just one single high-fat meal. Let's watch that video clip.
This month, a consumer group listed some of the unhealthiest dishes served at popular restaurant chains, food packed with calories, salt, and fat. And that got us to wondering just how unhealthy can this food be and what happens when you make just one meal of it. Our Yunji Denise found out.
Deep-fried macaroni and cheese, a bacon cheeseburger wrapped in a quesadilla, a giant cookie smothered in ice cream. The Center for Science and the Public Interest calls them nutritional train wrecks. Producer John Garcia and I went to the University of Maryland's Medical Center to see what the effect would be on our bodies. Before we ate, researchers took blood samples and gauged the health of our arteries with an ultrasound.
It's a very healthy pulsating.
Now comes the fun part. We get to eat a whole lot of lunch.
Bon appetit.
Our one meal, appetizer, entree, and dessert, packed more than 3 times as many calories as the government recommends for an entire day, and almost 10 times the saturated fat. 2 hours later, it was time to test.
John, how are you feeling?
Still sluggish. Still tired.
John's blood samples said it all.
Essentially, you can see what a clear difference. This is fat in his blood, basically.
All that fat goes right to your arteries. Mine narrowed, and you can hear the difference. Here's what my blood flow sounded like before eating. And this is after.
Your heart is working twice as hard now.
And is that because those arteries are so much smaller?
Yes, it's narrow arteries.
It shows that one meal can affect the health of your artery.
Cardiologists Robert Vogel and Michael Miller analyzed our results.
What's worse, eating a quesadilla cheeseburger or smoking a cigarette?
I'd say they're equally bad.
Each and every meal that you eat is important to the health of your artery. And since we live by our arteries, your survival depends on it.
The effects of that one meal only lasted about 6 hours, but doctors say eaten regularly, this is the food that heart attacks are made of. Yunji Denise, ABC News, Baltimore.
Now you may be saying to yourself, well, I don't normally eat a meal like the one in the news story with over 6,000 calories and 187 grams of fat, but just look at some of these very common foods that we order when we go out. Places like the Cheesecake Factory, Chili's, Outback, Five Guys, and the list could go on, really, couldn't it? So I think it's first very important to understand what all that fat really does inside the blood vessel. Here you see a picture of the endothelium, which is the lining of the blood vessels and the heart, and that plays a remarkable role in maintaining healthy blood flow. One of the things that's produced in the cells that line our arteries, the endothelium that you see here, is nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a vasodilator, which means that it causes the vessels to dilate or enlarge. When there's abundant nitric oxide in the bloodstream, it helps keep the blood flowing as if the vessel surfaces were coated with a slippery Teflon. And that eliminates the stickiness of the vessels and the blood cells, which of course can lead to blood clots and plaques. And what we see is high-fat meals essentially paralyze the endothelium, and that reduces the production of nitric oxide. As we saw in the news segment, Dr. Vogel clearly showed how eating a high-fat meal causes a constriction in the blood vessels, which raises heart rate and ultimately, of course, blood pressure. But in his original study back in 1997, he demonstrated this same effect with a meal consisting of much fewer calories and fat. He divided a group of his students into 2 groups, one which ate a meal consisting of an Egg McMuffin, a Sausage McMuffin, and 2 hash brown potato patties and a non-caffeinated beverage. The other group also consumed 900 calories, but no fat. The results were dramatic. Among those who consumed no fat, there simply wasn't a problem. Their arteries bounced back to normal, just as they were before they ate. But the arteries of those who had eaten a fat-laden fast food took far longer to respond. Why? The answer really lies in the effect of fat on the endothelium's ability to produce nitric oxide. Upon close examination, Dr. Vogel found that 2 hours after eating the fatty meal, there was a significant drop in the endothelial function. It took 6 hours, in fact, for that to get back to normal. So you see, consuming just one high-fat meal really has a profound effect on the body. Now here's the really exciting part. In 2003, Dr. Vogel once again did the same study, except this time he used 38 individuals and divided them into 3 groups. And this time they were all given the same high-fat meal as we saw on the last slide with the fast food. The one group which you see in orange on this graph was just given a placebo pill. The second group that you see represented by the blue bar was given Juice Plus Orchard and Garden blends. Juice Plus is simply fruits and vegetable powders which have been encapsulated. And the third group, which was represented by the yellow bar, was given Vineyard blend in addition to the Orchard and Garden blend. The study took place over a 28-day period, which all of the test subjects took the capsules that they were given. And you can see that on day 1, all 3 groups had a significant artery constriction after they ate that high-fat meal. At weeks 3 and 4, all the groups were again given the high-fat meal and retested. By week 3, the groups represented in the blue and yellow bar had already seen significant reduction in artery constriction. Most impressive were the results seen at week 4. The placebo group, of course, still had statistically the same adverse effect. The Orchard and Garden group showed a 66% improvement, and the group taking all 3 blends of Juice Plus had essentially no constriction at all. It was as if they had not even eaten that high-fat meal. Now, of course, this shouldn't give us license to go out and eat like this all the time, but it does give us some peace of mind in knowing that on those occasions when we do, that we're actually receiving a protective benefit. The conclusion of the study was that consuming fruits and vegetables, even in the capsule form as with Juice Plus, can prevent the immediate adverse effect of a high-fat meal and increase the production of nitric oxide. Remember that nitric oxide that we talked about earlier? It plays a very important role, and so we want to do everything that we can to be sure that its production is not limited. So let me just ask you, if a single meal can have such an impact on vascular health, can you imagine the damage done by 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for decades? If you're already taking all 3 blends of Juice Plus, you can have peace of mind knowing that you're being protected when you do make those kinds of meal choices. And if you're taking just the Orchard and Garden blends, you might want to consider adding the Vineyard blend as well so that you can be completely protected. And if you're currently not taking Juice Plus, I urge you to visit one of my websites below so you can learn more, and you can contact me through the website and we can discuss this together.